So hi, I'm Ryan Roberts. I'm one of the co-founders of Bustld. Bustld is a wedding planner in your pocket that matches engaged couples and wedding vendors, manages contracts, payments, communication, and more. Oops. Couples want a central place to plan without feeling overwhelmed. Currently, they have two bad options. One, brochure web directories, which can be overwhelming, not personal, at times have conflicting information, and there's no way for couples to track their payments or contracts or communication. And then on the other side, you have social recommendations, whether it be through word of mouth, whether it be through Instagram or Pinterest, Facebook. There's no central way to search. There's no tools for planning, and it may not even fit in your budget. The solution is Bustld, a wedding planning platform that simplifies this $31 billion industry. With the Bustld web app, couples will have the ability to manage their wedding end to end. So with a central dashboard that will manage their contracts and payments with a personalized algorithm, and then vendors will have a platform that will allow them to keep track of payments and contracts as well. So how does this work? Couples sign up, take a 2-minute quiz, and search for vendors based on locality, based on their style, budget, what matters the most to them. And then couples will then be able to message vendors through the dashboard. They will be able to sign contracts, pay vendors via the dashboard with a credit card, which is a critical issue in the industry where mostly vendors will only accept checks and disparate contracts and everything's kind of all over the place. And then money will be deposited into vendors' bank account, less a 10% service fee. Couples will be able to reduce their planning time in half, and vendors will only pay for their placement if they actually make money, meaning that our goals are aligned. Our competitive advantage here is that we will have this all-in-one platform. We will provide digital wedding planning advice, as well as, again, no money commitment from the vendors themselves. So how did we get here? My wife, Sammy, and I started this company 4.5 years ago. We like to call this Bustld 1.0. We started originally in Charlotte as a marketplace similar to those directory sites with a subscription model where vendors paid a monthly subscription to be a part of our site. We grew across 5 states, hundreds of subscribed vendors, thousands of registered engaged couple users. Everything was going really well. We closed a small angel round at the end of 2019, staffed up in February, and then boom, COVID hit in March, which hit the wedding industry particularly hard. As part of our pivot, we launched a virtual wedding platform called Lovestream, where we can actually live stream weddings anywhere in the world as long as there's internet connection. This has actually taken off really well. We've done over 250 weddings over the last 9 or so months, generated over 180K in revenue, thousands of virtual wedding guests in over 107 countries. So as you can see here, it's kind of a typical COVID chart, right? So in April, things got really bleak. We knew we had to make a change. The really cool thing is if you look back in January of 2020, we had generated around 16K in cash in revenue that month. In this past January, we did 40K. So even in a time where the wedding industry has seen the industry spend go from 60 billion to 30 billion, we were able to grow by more than double. And we have some great ways to grow going forward with what we call Bustld 2.0. One is that 10% service fee for all contracts booked through our platform. We will also be providing a virtual wedding planning package for couples to be able to ask questions, go through their checklists, budget questions, things of that nature. This will be a good revenue channel, but more importantly, it'll help activate couples to use the platform in the way we intend it. We'll continue to invest and grow with Lovestream as that will be a continual product as we go forward. And then we will also get back to what we've done really well with Bustld 1.0 with the digital promotion through social media, through our podcasts and advertising. Some of the key milestones to pay attention to is in April, we will be launching our new MVP of 2.0 in New York and California. By July, we anticipate generating monthly revenue of 13K from 2.0. August, we go national. And then by the end of the year, we anticipate hitting 181K in total revenue that month. I come from a data and tech background with focus on consultative sales. And my wife and co-founder, Sammy, has spent over 12 years in events and run her own wedding planning company here in Charlotte for the last 7 years. We are now a team of 7, predominantly of hospitality event pros. And we're very excited to kind of grow. And then we are seeking $500,000 against a $5 million valuation to finish development on 2.0, drive more growth marketers, and add some staff. Got me, Laura. You got me.
Nice.
I thought I had it.
No, you did it. I am so great job.
Great job.
So I'm going to try and jump in here and maybe break through some of this background chatter. But I will ask 2 quick questions. I'm very curious as to the implications post-COVID, assuming we all get off of house arrest and punishment here and we actually go back to the real world. What are the implications on LoveStream? And how do you see that post-COVID or post-COVID conditions? And then who's vetting, or how do you vet suppliers to, ensure quality and, all of the things that go into having a great experience during your wedding?
Amazing question. So first with LoveStream, we think LoveStream is going to continue to grow, but at a certain point it's going to plateau. It's going to be kind of like you have a photo booth, you have, something more, not necessarily a key vendor, like you'd have a photographer or a venue, but it's going to be something that people are like, oh, I should get that. Oh, my grandparents can't be there, or, your sister's pregnant and she can't travel, whatever it may be, right? It's always going to be with us, and it's going to be a great revenue channel, but it's not going to get us to 100 million a year in revenue. To your other question, the vetting was a critical part of Bustld 1.0. My wife being a wedding planner, we know what a bad vendor and a good vendor looks like. So our team will actually is very astute at looking through websites and through social and through reviews. We can actually, with pretty good accuracy, determine if someone's going to be a good vendor or not.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. I will save time for Steve and be more gracious than he is in general.
Thank you, Dr.
That is nice setup, Sean. Thank you.
She's working on conditions.
Let's see. Yeah. So I first of all, the flow of the pitch was very solid. Hit like all the typical things for me. What you have been doing, traction with customers. I think your story about pivoting successfully is super important because it speaks to the resilience of the management team. I think the fact that birthed a new product for you is fantastic. And your wife, that's wonderful. I liked the revenue, customers, the ask, the use of proceeds. So all those things I think lined up really well. So good pitch. I am particularly interested in the live stream side. I think, so you made a comment about that plateauing. I'm not sure. I'm not sure that isn't the $100 million business. I mean, the other side of the business is obviously super important. Your wife has domain expertise, and so there's no reason not to pursue it. I'm always, and she's been in this business, so obviously this is a very naive point of view, but sitting in the middle of a buyer and seller transaction, especially potentially one of the most sensitive and important transactions that a couple might make, is a hell of a job. And it's a hell of a job personally, and it's really a hell of a job in software. So I wonder about that a little bit and some of the challenges that presents. I would say I would not downplay in the pitch at all the scale of revenue on the streaming side of the business. I agree with you. I think streaming is here to stay. I think it's a use case that might change, but as you indicated, there's a lot of reasons why you might still want to live stream your wedding. And I just think that I would like to see, in terms of pitch feedback for you, very good. I'd like to see that idea on par with the rest of the idea in the business from a pitch standpoint. And the way you presented it was kind of, so we had to do this and we made money, and so that'll stick around. I would say like, and so we had to do this and we came up with this great thing and it's produced instant revenue for us. And now it's a really important part of our product portfolio. And here's how we're going to invest in that alongside of everything else in terms of use of proceeds and the capital raise, because I just think that has a lot of, maybe of potential, and maybe it doesn't plateau, I guess is what I'm thinking. So I would just bring that aspect of the pitch up to on par with everything else.
No, I appreciate that. That's great.
I would like to give it back to Shantae in the event that I, overstepped. I want to make sure I say what I'm
No, I think there's a lot of, I'd love to see exactly what you're talking about, because I don't even think in my head I thought, oh, such and such couldn't travel, or this is a destination wedding and everybody can't, hop on a plane and be there. So I think that's an excellent idea. And thinking about it and framing in that way, then you don't have to say that it's a COVID pivot, it's a COVID opportunity. And I think that's really good feedback from Steve.
Yeah, I'll point out, and what Shantae's saying is exactly right. And I would just say this, Ryan, and your wife probably knows this firsthand, so she can feel free if she's on, she can call bullshit on me. But, ask everybody that's in the chat room. There's 100 people on here. For those of you that are married, amongst all the arguments that happen between husband and wife in getting ready for marriage, certainly for me, for the so far 2 times I've been married, who knows, maybe there'll be another one. The most succinct argument that I had with my wife was who gets invited. And if you're streaming the wedding, you have the potential to take the friction out of one of the biggest problems with wedding planning, which is how much can we afford and who gets invited, right? And so that's one of the reasons why fundamentally I think that you've hit on something with the streaming side that has tremendous potential, because if you can take that friction out of that decision for couples in a meaningful way, I think you've achieved something really interesting there.
Oh, that's a great, I haven't thought about it that way. That's great.
You've got a test market in Steve already 2 times. So,
yeah, awesome. If you can get this thing really humming, I'll go for another one and try it out. Just don't tell my current wife.
Awesome, guys. Thank you guys so much. Big round of applause for Ryan from Bustld, and also a huge round of applause. Big thank you for Steve and Dr. Shantae Williams. You guys are always great panelists. We love the discussion. We love the insights. A big reminder to everybody, if you've